Angela, has the meeting hasn't been set up as a request attendance and then you have to be let in?
No, people can people can just come in.
Oh, it says we've already got 31 participants. It says, right, okay, well, Johannes, good to see you, John. Actually, I'm just scrolling through to see who we have here. So perhaps maybe we can get started then. What do you think, Angela? Should we kick off now then?
Yeah, no, I think we should go.
Okay, so well, good morning and welcome everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome such a large number of participants here today. So the purpose of today's meeting is really to introduce the Marie Curie Fellowship Programme available through the CeADAR Centre here in Ireland, and CeADAR is the National Centre for Applied AI. I'm sure the audience here does not need reminding, but the Marie Curie Fellowship is a very prestigious award for the successful candidate, and to date, the CeADAR Centre has 21 of these Marie Curie fellowships, and the programme through Enterprise Ireland started 3 years ago, and since then, as I say, we've collected 21. So not only is it a very prestigious award for the successful candidate, but for the company, the host company, it is actually one of the most unique and best value awards that they can get, because in fact, each award is worth €250,000. It lasts for 3 years, and effectively the company gets a very prestigious scholar to work for 3 years alongside them on a jointly defined project, which is focused on some challenge that the company is facing. And into the bargain as well, the company also gets to leverage the expertise and the knowledge that is in the CeADAR Centre as well, because working with the company for 3 years, it really engenders a very close relationship between the centre, the Marie Curie Fellow, and the company themselves. So I know that we've got a lot of new faces here today, so I'm going to take just a few minutes to introduce the CeADAR Centre. I've only got three slides on that, just to basically give you a sketch of what we do and who we are, and to encourage you to submit an application through us. And then what we'll do after that is pass over to the various people within the CeADAR Centre who've been involved with the Marie Curie programme through the years. And so hopefully we'll introduce you to what the programme is like from actual practitioners of it, and also from some of the so-called principal investigators or the academic mentors that we have in the CeADAR Centre, who will be giving us their perspective of the Marie Curie programme. So we'll start off, and I'll say, so CeADAR is the National Centre for Applied AI here in Ireland. And the applied part is very important because we work quite closely with member companies. And the CeADAR Centre is one of a network of 30 digital innovation hubs for AI across Europe. And you'll see on this slide where the others are based in Europe. So we're very closely involved with that network of innovation hubs for AI. And in fact, this network will form the basis of the Horizon Europe programme for the European community, particularly in terms of getting AI out into the local ecosystems in those various member states of the Union. The other thing, which is just breaking news as of yesterday, I'm delighted to say that the Big Data Value Association, which is the PPP, public-private partnership with the European Commission and all the major players in Europe involved in AI and analytics, all those member companies and also the research institutions throughout Europe, constitute the BDVA. And they awarded us yesterday the gold badge of the BDVA for leadership in the I space or innovation space network, of which we are part as well. So a little bit more about the CeADAR Centre itself. We've got almost 90 member companies. 40% of those would be multinationals whose logos you'll see there, and the 60% would be Indigenous Irish SMEs. And we work very closely with these companies. We rely on them to establish challenges along with us, and also to provide data and a test platform as well for the solutions that we develop for them. And so in summary, the CeADAR Centre itself provides scientific and business advisory services to industry. We develop bespoke solutions, translational research and contract research solutions for companies to actually bringing solutions to near market. We also have a very strong applied research agenda, which is wrapped up within our what we call our demonstrator program. We have a series of weekly business seminars, which are open to everyone. We've got several large collaborations with companies here in Ireland, and these can range from short-term collaborations to some of our larger ones, which are multi-million euro projects spanning several years. The other thing that CeADAR offers is workshops with individual companies where we have brainstorm sessions to really suggest approaches to solve real world challenges that the companies have using the latest techniques in AI and analytics. And finally, we also have a very active training program, which is geared not only to technical upskilling, but also to introduce the senior management decision makers in companies to the particular trends and techniques of AI and analytics. We have a program of postgraduate apprenticeships, which is very popular, which has just kicked off there with 10 of our member companies, and we've placed 10 of our MSc or post-MSc students with them. And again, we work closely over the course of the year with them, and that program is actually funded by Enterprise Ireland to the tune of 70%. We also help companies move along their journey from, let's say, undeveloped applications of AI to sophisticated users. So this is a maturity cycle. We have a very active program of spinouts. We've got 5 spinouts that are venture funded with the CeADAR, and we're hoping that next year, 2021, we'll start to see those companies, those nascent companies, spin out of CeADAR and establish themselves as independent companies. We're very involved in the European Union Horizon 2020 program, and also its successor, which is the Horizon Europe. So we work very closely with networks of companies and with other research institutions throughout Europe, and we would encourage our member companies to join with us in that. And finally, the centre this year won significant funding to purchase a supercomputer to help us not only with our research, but also to encourage our member companies to take advantage of this fantastic resource that we have available for them to test out their models and algorithms. So that's the introduction to CeADAR for all those new faces that we see there. The next slide I have looks at the agenda for today. So the next up will be Yassine, who's our business development manager, who will be talking about the application process of the Marie Curie CareerFIT from Enterprise Ireland. And then we'll have Oisin Boydell, who will talk about his tips for successful Marie Curie applications, and Oisin heads up our applied research group. Then we'll have Ricardo Simon Carbajo, who heads up our innovation and development group, who will be talking about what makes a successful application. And then we've got 2 of our current Marie Curie Fellows, Paul Nolte and Hamidreza, who will be talking about their experiences with the whole process, and then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end. So I'll stop sharing my screen now, and I'll pass the microphone over to Yassine, who will be talking about the application process.
Thank you, Edward. I'll just share my screen. So do you see my screen?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone. My name is Yassine Jelassi. I'm the Business Development Manager for the CeADAR Center. So the objective of this quick presentation is to give an overview about the Marie Curie CareerFIT Plus program and the application process. So the objective of the Marie Curie CareerFIT Plus program is to support highly qualified experienced researchers to conduct market-focused research relevant to the technology centers and in collaboration with host company. And what I mean by that is that the candidate will be able to, for example, in the case of the CeADAR Center, which is the National Center of Applied AI, so the research proposal will be related to the artificial intelligence space, but the project proposal will be driven by the need of the host company. And we'll do a lot of facilitation on trying to align the research interest of the candidate and the research agenda of the company. And I will come back to that at the end of this presentation. So the program gives also the possibility for international mobility and gaining benefit from that international exposure. So one of the criteria of the program is that the candidate have not spent more than 1 year in the past 3 years in Ireland, which means that the candidate will bring his international experience to Ireland and will also benefit from the Irish experience from the CeADAR Center experience and also the host company where will be working on a live project. The program will also give opportunity for training and career development for the candidate, which increases his chances to gain future senior research positions. So the program will last for 3 years, and the candidate will be employed by, in our case, by the CeADAR Center for the length of those 3 years. So here's just 3 key criteria for the program. There is also a few other criteria, but those are the most relevant ones for our audience today. I also attached the guide for applicants at the end of the presentation, so you can find more details. So the 3 criteria, first is experience in research. So the applicant should have either a PhD by the time he submitted his application on the 31st of December, or have completed, who have a master's degree and completed at least 4 years of full-time equivalent research experience. So the second criteria, which I already stated, which is the applicant should not have resided in Ireland for more than 12 months or 1 year in the past 3 years. And the partner company or the host company should be based on Ireland, and we'll also do a lot of facilitation and trying to match the candidate to the right company in Ireland. So the fellowship funding is provide very generous package, and as you can see in the table, and it also, so it's as Edward already said, it's total worth 250,000 euro, and it cover the living mobility and the family allowance, and also cover some of their research training and networking costs for the candidate during the 3 years of the program. So here we have the key important date for the whole application. So the deadline for the application is the 31st of December, but there is a bit of work to be done before the submission of the application. The outcome of the evaluation will be announced on the March 2021. All the supporting documents and check and control signature for the successful applicant will happen between April and June 2021. And the fellowship will start by 1st of July 2021. So the deadline of the application, as I said, is on the 31st of December, but there is some work to be done ahead of that. So the applicant is responsible for the submission of the application, which is should submitted online.
Yes,
so,
sorry
yeah.
to disturb. You are in presenter mode. Can you change the view so that the slide can be bigger?
Sorry.
Apologies for interrupting, but I
No.
think.
Yeah, no problem. So what I can do, because I cannot change the size if it's in the
I think if you
presentation.
switch the screen by using two screens,
Yeah.
you switch the screen you're sharing, it'll share the right slide.
Okay. So let me.
I have this problem too, Yassine. The problem is that you're using two screens. If you wanted to switch one of them off or whatever, that's probably.
Yeah, let me actually. It's still the same problem, right? Let me. I will just. Oh. Sorry for this technical issue. Oh. Do you see it now?
Yeah,
That's perfect.
Okay, sorry for that. So just on the application process, so the deadline is on the 31st of December, but so basically what we have been doing, so once we receive like a candidate who's interested in the fellowship program, so based on his expertise and his skills, we'll try to match him with one of our industry members. And based on that, we'll try to arrange like three-part meeting where we, the candidate and the host company will be present. And what we'll be trying to do is actually try to align the research interest of the candidate and the research agenda for the company. So what we have seen is like some of the candidates will bring or like will have already a research proposal, which is sometimes the continuation of their PhD, or sometimes we'll just try to find that overlap of like the sweet spot of the overlapping research interest and research agenda of the host company. So once the scope of the project, of the Marie Curie project have been determined, then we'll assign a supervisor from the CeADAR center, and the candidate will also have a supervisor and the host company. And based on that, so the candidate will write the proposal, which is like should be submitted online, and he will. Both mentors within the company, within CeADAR, will also have to submit forms along with that application. So basically, the candidate should make sure that all the right forms have been submitted before the 31st of December. And he should also provide two referrals and a maximum of 3, which will also be attached to the application. Sorry, yeah. Oh. So just on the final note is on the selection criteria. So the evaluation of the application will be assessed on 3 main aspects. So first is the track record and research potential of the applicant. Second will be the quality of the host organization and the mentors. Third will be the quality of the research program. And finally is the training and career development aspects of the whole program. So again, like the Marie Curie program is a very prestigious program, and also like very good opportunity for both the company to expand their research agenda and for the candidate to it's a great opportunity for career development as well. So if you are interested, you can send me your CV or you can send it to Edward as well. And if you like to have this presentation, I also attach a few links. You can feel free to send me an email and I can share it with you. And thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Yassine. And as you pointed out, Yassine, there's more information on the CeADAR website under the tab that says career as well, so you can have a look there. So the next up is Oisin. So I'll pass the mic over to you, Oisin.
Thanks, Edward, Yassine. Share my screen here. So I'm going to talk about some tips that I would suggest for a successful Marie Curie CareerFIT application. So firstly, I suppose these tips come from my experience in successes and failures in being an academic mentor on a number of CareerFIT applications over quite a number of the previous calls now. So I've had a mix of successful applications and of course unsuccessful. But one of the great things which is very useful is Enterprise Ireland do provide feedback from their International Assessment Board. So having been involved across different applications and seeing the feedback, both positive and negative, I've brought together now some tips from that experience just in terms of really for the candidate in terms of the application. So firstly, a phrase that you might see quite a lot around the internet, RTFM, which means it actually means read the field manual. Apparently it was used by World War II soldiers when asked basic questions by new listees. I was really pleased to see that. Nice, no obscenities here. So I think that this is a kind of general thing for all proposals and all funding applications and so on. And with this particular call, there really is a lot of documentation there. So at that link there, and you'll see the page shown on the right there, all those links show different documentation, guides, frequently asked questions, terms and conditions. And because there's been a number of calls over the last few years for this particular program, a lot of the information from previous calls have been sort of compiled and put into these. So there's really a huge amount of information here. And I'd recommend any potential applicant, any candidate to kind of read through it all as much as possible. There's loads of good advice there, loads of tips, loads of things that it's good to know about for different aspects. Another tip is around the eligibility of the candidate and also the profile of the candidate. So there's quite detailed criteria in the documentation of exactly what a candidate needs, what their qualifications are and what stage they are in their sort of research career. So that's very important, obviously, to make sure that you fit into that as a candidate. And also sort of reading between the lines as well. And I've had some experience with this in some previous applications. There's a certain researcher profile that they're looking at. So this program, it's for training and development of experienced researchers in their career development. So they're not looking for over-experienced applicants. So people who are too long since their PhD was awarded, or they might already have been quite far along their research career. And so I've had experience in this before where we actually had feedback that the candidate was, it was too long since they'd done their PhD and they were already quite an experienced academic. So they're looking for experienced researchers that are moving to the next level in their research career path. English language fluency. So this is definitely stated in the guidelines. So it says applicants, they must be able to communicate to the requisite standard through the English language. And in the application process, there's a lot of communication required between the candidate, the industry partner, and the academic mentor and the host institution as well. So also the application itself, it's primarily candidate-led. So it requires a lot of writing and the ability to really communicate the proposed research. So that's what a lot of the evaluation is based on. So it's really important to have this English language fluency. And also the academic mentor has to confirm the competency level of English as part of the application. So that has to be confirmed. So, I mean, it's very difficult if, you know, maybe the level of English is not really relevant or up to the level required for a complicated application like this. So that's definitely something to really keep in mind and understand that. The evaluation procedure. So this is, I suppose, another general one for funding proposals in general. There's a huge amount of information of exactly how the applications are weighted in the evaluation. So this is just a couple of examples here. There's more in the documentation. So when preparing the application, it's really important to see what the weighting is across these different sections and to put the appropriate detail in these sort of higher scoring areas, and to make sure that there's a good balance across those areas. So you can sort of play to the rules of the game in this, and to make sure your application is going to score as good as possible. Working with the industry partner then. So I think communication and discussion of the proposed research with the industry partner early in the process is really important. So it's definitely the host company here, the industry partner, should be really involved. Like, the research should be something that's of huge relevance to the industry partner, and the industry partner is going to be supporting the fellow in that research journey. So it's important in the application process to really show that the industry partner was involved in defining the research area and direction. So this industry person and the mentor and the company are not there just to tick the box on the application. That's going to show really if there's not much communication there early on. Another general one is to avoid last-minute submissions, and particularly in this case, because it's important to make sure the applications are ready early. And my previous experience I've had with this funding call is that last-minute submissions, there's been previously problems with the submission portal, the online submission. This is a common thing. I think most funders recommend submitting early to avoid these problems. And it's often there's nothing can be done if there's a technical hitch. So it's really a shame to waste all that work. And also the academic mentor and industry partner, they can't necessarily drop everything at the last minute to assist on, work such as final assistance with the budget or some missing details about the host institution. And especially with this current call, the deadline's the end of December. So bear in mind that the Christmas period is a couple of weeks before that. And I know with the current unusual circumstances over the last year, I think there'll be quite a lot of people probably going to take some leave over Christmas period before the start of the new year. So, that's something that has to be taken into account. And it'd be a shame for applications to miss out on some crucial details because there wasn't enough time at the end. And just finally, in relation to that, any candidates interested, I'd recommend to start now in terms of getting in touch with CeADAR now, because there is a background process. There's quite a lot of work that we do sort of in the background in aligning candidates with suitable industry partners, helping to define the research proposal, etc. So there's quite a process in this, and you can see the deadline there. It's looks far away now, but that's not really given the Christmas period as well. It's time is always tight on these. And just a final tip, that there's a lot of time and effort put into on the part of the industry partner and the academic mentor. So I think it's important just to make sure that a candidate would be committed to taking up the offer if successful. We've had great applications in the past that were awarded and were really well scored and so on. Unfortunately, the candidate were looking at maybe some other opportunities at the same time. And just to bear in mind, there's a huge amount of work by different parties involved, not just the candidate going into these applications. But none of these tips are to put off anyone. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a really good funding instrument, and it's really useful for researcher career development, and it's very prestigious. So I'd recommend anyone to apply and to get in touch with us as soon as possible. Great, thanks.
Super, thank you very much, Oisin. And as I said, those are very useful tips for everybody. And so we're going to go over to Ricardo now, and he's going to talk to us about working with the technology centers. Do we have Ricardo there? Oh, there he is, right. There are so many names in front of me on the screen, it's very hard to see if Ricardo is there.
No, I have to change the background now. Because
there he is, there he is, there he is.
Let me change the background because it's just maybe this one is better. No, sorry.
Yeah,
I'll go with this one. Oh. Can you
Nothing
see me, guys?
controversial or anything, Ricardo? Yeah.
No, it's just, I have to, yeah. Anyway, I haven't prepared any sort of slides because I didn't want, that the same thing that happened to Yassine happened to me. So I will just talk about, different kind of pillars that I think are important when you engage, with us to prepare an application and when you just write the application. So first of all, about the center, the technology center, which is CeADAR. Edward has mentioned different things about CeADAR. It's the National Technology Center and it's a digital innovation hub in artificial intelligence, which is very much aligned to what Edward was saying. And I want to show you what Edward was saying, which is what we got recently here, right? So this is the award that we got, okay? This basically tells that we are the BDBA iSpace label, the gold one. So it means that, suppose we are one of the top data innovation hubs in Europe, okay? Or that's what it says. So it means that everything that we do is for the benefit of industry. Even though we do research, it's applied research that is to benefit industry. That's the difference between the other Marie Curie applications that some other people put with universities. Even though we are based in a university, which is UCD and also in TUD, everything we do is for industry. And all the Marie Curie programs will be actually focused to work with industry and to provide benefits for industry, particularly for the company. So that has to be very clear. Then the center, CeADAR, their expertise is in a broad areas of artificial intelligence. So the candidates have to have some feeling for artificial intelligence. That doesn't mean that they have to be experts, okay? They can be, for example, experts in any numerical background. They can, for example, we have had people that have a PhD in physics, right? Coming to CeADAR and actually getting, a Marie Curie. The thing is just these people, obviously, they had some sort of a background in programming and they understood a little bit of data analytics. So that's what we ask, that, for example, programming C, Python, or so on, and then you understand how data analytics work. So that is very important because everything that we are going to do for the company and the project will be prepared around this argument that you are going to be providing hands-on work for the company in the area of machine learning. Okay, so there is a period of learning that you can have, but then you will have to deliver, value, which is the beauty of all of that, right? Because this Marie Curie, at the end of the day, you will be doing research, you will be publishing papers, but you will be working with industry in a real problem. Okay, so it's not like a pure academic focus in which you will publish and that's it. No, it's just you'll get the benefits of both worlds, which will open up more opportunities for you in the future. Okay, in both areas. So that's about the tech center. I think it's important in the application when you talk to us that we discuss what you bring to the tech center and what we give you to the tech, what we give you back. Okay, for example, what you bring in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your previous career, right? What we give you in terms of, for example, training, in terms of a different environment and all of that. This has to be, put in bullet points because you have to translate that into the application. That is important, okay? So a good factor to win. Then about the company, that's another key pillar. We have a lot of companies there, multinationals, SMEs. We can source the best one, okay, for you that aligns with your profile or with your interest. So first of all, you contact with us, particularly with Edward and Yassine, and then based on your profile, we will match you with one of these companies. Typically, we know what these companies want because we collaborate with them on a daily basis. So we'll craft a project with you and them, okay? It's a project around the area of data analytics with real data to solve real challenges, okay? So we have to be aligned. And in there is the same. You have to know what you are going to give to the company and what they are going to give you back and outline that. It's important to know that the company also has to give training, to make you grow, and you just have to list that in your training and career development. And also, it is very important to know that you are going to be seconded into that company for the 3 years, in different periods. So we have to as well come up with a good strategy of secondment. It could be that, for example, you are there 2 days every week, okay? Or it could be that, you are there 3 months a year altogether. This secondment strategy, we can agree with the company, and it's very important as well for the application because it has to make sense, okay? To benefit the company, to benefit CeADAR, and to benefit yourself. About the candidate, which is you. The candidate, I'm not going to lie, the candidate has to be strong, okay? Oisin was saying, not too much experience, and that is true. If you are already an associate professor, with 600 publications, it doesn't make any sense that you apply, okay? But if you are about to finish a PhD, and when I mean about to finish a PhD is that you're going to submit in the next 4, 5, 6 months, okay? And you have a good, strong record of publications and other awards, then you are one of the good candidates. If you have a PhD as well and you're in a postdoc project, your recent postdoc project, after finishing your PhD, you are a good candidate as well, okay? So it's good as well to have a set of publications with good impact factor. All of that, helps. And a lot of awards as well, a lot, good awards and some research achievements, okay? That's what you have to really sell in the application. What your research achievements have been since you started, your PhD, okay? So that's about you. And now about the mentors. So there's 2 mentors, one the academic mentor and the other one the secondment mentor, so the company mentor. And in my case, I'm the academic mentor of 2 Marie Curies. One is about to finish, and it's around here. I think it's Christian. He was coming with a recent PhD in physics, right? But he was very good at programming, and he knew about data science. So over the course of these 3 years, he has developed himself, and now he's a very good data scientist, and he has worked very close, with this company. So that's what this program does to people who are not really necessarily computer scientists, but that just have this background in programming and a little bit data science and statistics. So, and I'm about I'm starting to mentor another candidate now, another Marie Curie. So the idea is, what I want to say here is mentor means, a colleague. It's not like a supervision, like a PhD. We are here to support you with everything and to mentor like a colleague, to talk about, the research, to do it together, problems that you have with the company, or the particular challenge that you have. So it's a different approach to develop yourself as a more senior, researcher who will actually go out in the future and take more large research projects under his coordination or her coordination. And then finally, I'll talk about the research proposal. So you have to align it, with the company as well. So the company will dictate somehow what is about the research, what sort of problem they have. It will give you the data. And then as a mentor, I will help you, or any other mentor will help you to actually craft, what the best technology and what the best research proposal or research question it is, okay? And based on that, we have to actually align clear objectives. If you don't have clear objectives, a subset of them, there's no point in continuing. And then a clear methodology. That's what people. If you start writing, the application like saying too many things here and there, it's not going to work. It's clear research question, the fact that you have a challenge from the company, the fact that you have data, objectives, and then the methodology. And then finally, to do that, actually, part of this is just to have a proper Gantt diagram with everything, they are well organized for the 3 years, okay? So it doesn't have to be very ambitious, but it has to be ambitious enough to provide enough value for the company for the 3 years. And very important is your training and career development plan, which has to be crafted, with the company and with the center, okay? And also, to develop yourself as a researcher. So when you finish after 3 years, you have to be a top data scientist, scientist research, okay? Researcher, sorry, and just either go in an academic career or go in a more industry-oriented career. So I think that's enough of tips, for today. So thank you very much for being here with us today, and contact us, and then we'll have a look at your CV, and we'll try to map you with the best company and provide a good research for you.
Thank you, Ricardo, for those additional tips as well on what makes a good proposal. So now we're going to go to talk to 2 people who actually work at the cold face. The first one is Paul Nolte, who's been with us now for 2 years. So I'll pass the mic over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Edward. Thanks, everyone. Let me get my slides up here. Oops. Everyone see that okay?
Yes, Paul, that's super.
Okay, great. Yeah, so before I go into the slides, I'll just respond a little bit to what Oisin and Ricardo already said about the application process from the candidate's point of view. So I'm a Marie Curie Fellow now. I work with CeADAR and with an Irish company called Corelytics, who are also based in Nexus UCD, CeADAR member, and UCD Nova company. One thing that's true that I thought it was important to emphasize from what Oisin said was that the applicant has, certainly the applicant and the academic mentor have the responsibility primarily for the application in terms of the fact that it's a research proposal. You're going to say how you're going to do some, applied research, translational research, but it does have to be a research contribution, and in that way, it's quite an academic document, and the review process is quite academic too. So, it's important that the candidate, between the three parties, the candidate, the company, and CeADAR, that are able to put together a strong research proposal, and that does tend to fall mainly on the applicant. And then also to say just about the eligibility criteria. So I got my PhD in Ireland, in UCD actually. I was eligible because I had gone to work as a postdoc in the UK for long enough that I fulfilled the requirement of, not being based in Ireland over the previous 3 years. And that is maybe the main kind of hurdle, that mobility requirement when thinking about whether a candidate is eligible or not. But it's great. It's a really great opportunity for candidates. There's a lot of scope in the fellowship for training and travel, presenting your research, and also the great part about it is if you're an academic researcher who, is kind of unsure about whether you would like to move to industry or not, it gives you a chance to experience collaborating with a company and applying your research skills to help a company, and that's been a really, really great experience for me. So just go on to tell you a little bit about my project. So my kind of subfield, I suppose, is natural language processing or text analysis. Like Ricardo said, the candidate doesn't necessarily have to be a computer science PhD, but some kind of numerical discipline. I was a computer science PhD from UCD, and I work with a company called Corelytics, who provide a product that helps companies assess and monitor and organize their regulatory risk. So global companies, especially financial companies, along with credit risk and operational risk, one of the areas of risk that's becoming much more prominent for them these days is regulatory risk, because when companies break the rules, you have these big scandals like Enron and LIBOR, they're fined very large amounts of money, and those are just the top of the tail. Those big fines that you hear about, it's a big cost for lots of companies at every size. So Corelytics kind of scour what's out there in terms of documents that record previous enforcements and updates about regulation, newspaper articles about where new regulatory rules are heading. And the task that they have is to organize these hundreds of thousands of documents and present them in a way that's useful for companies to say, if the company has a particular type of business, like suppose you're a mortgage broker in New Zealand or whatever, out of all these regulations that are published globally every year, which regulations apply to that company's business, and which business line within the company is responsible for it. So that's a text analysis or natural language processing problem. You might hear the field also called corpus linguistics or text analytics, or sometimes more generally working with unstructured data. So the primary, I suppose, the biggest problem in my project that we tried to solve is classification. So, about text classification from things like your spam filter and many other applications these days. In the case of the risk data set that we have, Corelytics have different categories, such as what type of regulation might be broken. Is it know your customer or anti-money laundering or, financing crime, these kinds of regulations. And also they want to classify documents according to what area within the company is responsible for monitoring those types of breaches. So there's two different kind of taxonomies they want to do text classification into. And we do this by extracting features from the text. This is an example of a parse of a sentence that illustrates ways in which sentences can be ambiguous. Modern NLP tools can do these kind of parses automatically and either extract features to kind of find a good feature set to help classify or organize the documents. And these days, we also work with more direct neural network methods that don't have such explicit feature finding. Excuse me. So the task is to place documents in the company's taxonomy, and that can be, a multi-label, hierarchical multi-label classification task, or in some cases, estimating a continuous property like the sentiment of a document or something like that. And basically, the project involves implementing machine learning methods to solve those problems. And this is an example of specifically what the task looks like. You can see on the bottom right there, Corelytics have a taxonomy of different types of financial crime, regulatory risk categories, and we want to classify documents into that taxonomy. So the outcomes of the project, so it's a 3-year funded project. I mean, just finished my 2nd year now, and we've done a lot because the company, they already had a really great data set of text documents related to regulation. They're already a data-focused company. I think that's true of a lot of the companies that CeADAR would work with. So it's a great, they understand data analytics already, and they understand cleaning and presenting data sets. And I think often in these cases, the candidate is able to get in there and get straight down to doing the machine learning or data analysis. And we've already, provided working prototypes, at least, of all of these kinds of text analysis methods for their problem. One other thing I wanted to say, that's my last slide, but just on the balance between the academic side and the industry side, there's the fellowship is structured so that you should spend a certain amount of time actually seconded in the company, meaning you, pre-COVID, you would have physically been located in their offices, and you can split that up whatever way you like. So it suggests about 30% of the time that you would be seconded with the company. I do that in terms of 1 or 2 days a week where I work directly with Corelytics, and then the other time is for the academic to the candidate to further their research, publication, training, and presenting their work at conferences and things like that. And I can just say that personally, it's it's been a really, really great project for me in every way. Like getting the experience of working with industry and learning how to do hands-on, concrete, applied research while still kind of making research advances. I think it's been really, really useful. And that's all I have.
Great. Well, thank you, Paul, for those insights from the cold face. And we have one other in a slightly different area from Hamidreza. If Hamid is there, I'm just again looking through all the names. Oh, there he is. Right.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, your box has lit up. Super, Hamid. Over to you then.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Hamid, a Marie Curie researcher at CeADAR and FAC, a consulting engineering company.
Everybody disbelieves everything then that you said, but that was very, very kind and very honeyed words. So thank you, Hamid, for giving us your insights from the actual practical challenges of the application as well. So thank you for that. So we've got we've got all our speakers today here. If I know we've run up to the time, but if there are 1 or 2 questions that are burning questions for people, where we can take them now, or you can email them into us later. But so we'll throw it open to everybody. Are there any immediate questions you'd like to ask us?
Edward.
Yes, Ricardo. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to clarify one thing. Not that you're not handsome or anything, but I'm going to clarify that. Hamid was saying something about the 50 pages, right, Hamid, of your research proposal. Well, at the end of the whole thing, once you upload, your all your material, it might be 50, but in terms of writing, it's way much less. So don't get scared with the 50 pages. I mean, there are a few sections there that have to be written properly. It's not that much, okay? But they have to be written to the point, okay? So every little word counts, but you don't have to write the 50 pages. I just want to clarify that. because even if I hear 50 pages, I will get really put off. I don't know if you want to say anything there, Hamid.
No, thank you, Edward. You are good.
It's Mr. Murphy again, actually, Hamid, as you said.
Yeah.
So there's as I say, there are a few names there. Questions come in from Richard. Can you add a little bit more detail about the level of input and commitments from the sponsor company? Well, we've got several people here who've actually worked with the companies. I don't know, Oisin, do you want to talk to that point from Richard?
Sure, yeah. Well, in terms of the application, during the application process, the actual sections of the application that the industry mentor has to fill out, it's relatively minor. It's more about the background to the company and how the company will support the candidate and so on. So that application part, but that has to be actually written by the company and submitted. In terms of defining the research proposal, yes, I mean, it's a benefit for the company really to be involved with that, because ultimately, the outputs of this research should be a benefit to the company. It's in the area or some of the areas that the company is interested and involved in. So, the time put in the early stages in sort of talking with the candidate and the academic mentor around defining that research proposal is time well invested. And it then shows in the submitted proposal then that there's a good communication and that it's a solid proposal. Throughout the fellowship, if it's successful, then there's quite a different level. So I think there's a minimum secondment of the candidate, the research fellow in the company. So that's actually sort of working, directly, often placed in the company. I mean, we're all remote now for a while, so it's slightly different, but that there is a certain defined aspect there, but there's a range time scale on that, and it can be done throughout a few days a week over the whole 3 years, or it could be put in a defined block of say 6 months, I think, within 1 year. I need to just check the exact timings on that. So there's a big variety of flexibility around how that works. And in terms of just the involvement with the candidate or the research fellow, there'll be regular meetings and updates is usually the way it would be. And obviously for data sets and so on, the company provides a really important thing in providing those kind of tools, data sets and so on that's needed for the project. But that's something that's dependent and could be discussed in the early stages of defining the proposal.
Okay. We have another one here. There's a question here from Syed, and he's asking, can you please explain a bit more regarding candidate eligibility criteria, especially for someone who is in the stage to go to their Viva? So perhaps I can answer that myself, and it relies on what Yassine has said. The criteria for the process is that you have to have your PhD before the closing date for the program. So your Viva, if it's going to be next year, will invalidate the candidacy. Can I just check with Yassine? Isn't that correct, Yassine, that you have to have your PhD before the 31st of December this year?
Yeah, exactly. So each candidate should hold the PhD just before submitting the application on the 31st of December.
And are there any other questions to say? You can always email them in. Oh, someone, Saeed as well. I have 15 publications and experience of 2 projects. Well, that's excellent, Saeed. So definitely send us in your CV, and Yassine and I can liaise with you and see what we can do. So as we're 5 minutes over now, I just wanted to thank all our speakers today for giving us the benefit of your wisdom and experience, and also thank everybody who's come along. I think it's been one of the larger webinars we've had. So thank you, everybody. And we would encourage those who are considering putting their name forward for the Marie Curie to please get in touch with us, and we can talk over in more detail the sort of companies and the sort of projects that they have in mind. They were very fortunate in CeADAR to have a lot of member companies, so we should be able to find a match for you quite easily. So I wish you all a very good afternoon, and hopefully we'll look forward to communicating over an email with you then. So goodbye from me here in Galway and from CeADAR and from the rest of CeADAR as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.